Boom, baby. We are live. Welcome to the Tokyo Crypto Show, episode number 74. We're going to talk about our boy, John McAfee. God only knows what's going on with this man, but apparently he's locked up. I'm joined with today by Charlie from cultivatecrypto.com. And we're going to be talking about this. What the hell's going on exactly? What do you think about this so far, Charlie?
Well, they've been after him for a while, right? He's been literally running away from the law for the last year and a half. So it's one of those things where, he was maybe a little bit too vocal about it, or eventually, they just worked with whatever government he was nearest at that time, and then they got him. So I believe it was in Spain that they said they picked him up, and he'd actually traveled, I think, initially from the States to a few places in the Caribbean, all the way over to like an undisclosed location, which he was actually literally in a tinfoil room for several months, so that people couldn't actually like get signals in there and track his location. But the recent, I think it was like when we did the interview with him, right? That was back in May, so it wasn't too long ago, and he was kind of out of that like super secret area, and he was a little bit more like, I think, open with his location or things like that. So,
yeah. Guys, we've been talking about this for a while, and let's just talk about this real quick, okay?
Yeah.
Guys, every single coin that is in the Bitcoin market that's not Bitcoin, Ethereum, or Bitcoin Cash, there's a 99% chance it's completely garbage.
99.9.
Right? And this is just another one. I talked about this on the episode last time we did a show when I was talking about how the cycles of these cryptocurrencies, okay? You get in, you get your money, and you get out. As long as you make profit, get out. I mean, there's a lot of hype around like Chainlink right now, and with all due respect, I don't know as much about Chainlink as I should. But I've seen a lot of hype around Celsius, and then we talked about that in the crypto mindset. And I was watching, I thought it was hilarious. I was watching Moon Gang, Charlie's show on Mondays, and or excuse me, Sunday night, Monday morning Tokyo.
Yeah.
And it was hilarious watching the Hex guy argue with the Celsius guys. It was just like, battle of the fucking incompetent. Like, which shitcoin is better? And
you get that a lot in crypto, right? You get a lot of tribalism. You get these people who are like, this is the one coin to rule them all, right? And you even get that with Bitcoin and all of that. So it's kind of funny to me when people get so emotionally invested in one cryptocurrency, when in reality it's like the entire crypto market is here for one reason, right? And that's to disintermediate all the banks,
right?
And so as long as we can do that, we're all on the same team, right? So it is kind of interesting when people go at each other basically for the same reasons as why they're in the same space in the first place.
Right. I just, like I said, it's just, I mean, the shitcoin revolution is just blowing my mind.
Well, even get this, right? So Dan Moorhead, who's got a $500 million hedge fund with Pantera Capital, right? One of the biggest hedge fund managers in the crypto space. He was being grilled on, I think it was Cointelegraph, an interview on there a few weeks ago. And in that interview, he was saying, I'm 60% Bitcoin because Bitcoin is the winner in this space. And there's no doubt about that, right? But as a hedge fund, his purpose is to make money, right? So he has to make money quarter on quarter, year on year for all of his clients. And so for him, right, looking at the DeFi craze, decentralized finance, he knows that the majority of it is not going to survive. It's like the internet in the 1990s, right? Ask Jeeves, Yahoo, all these, ones that we loved back then, but still aren't around necessarily, at least not in a big way today, or they got eaten up or bought by other corporations. He knows that, right? But at the same time, he knows that Bitcoin, in terms of, how much money needs to be put into it to bring the price up and everything like that, he knows that ROI over time becomes slower and slower. And so he has to go out on a limb, right, and then invest in these other coins. But like you said, for very short periods of time. It's not like you're going to be stuck in any of these things for like, over 6 months or so like that. There's only probably like a handful of cryptocurrencies, I would say, that you can hold for the entire bull market and be like just fine. So yeah, speculation is rampant.
I had somebody say this in the chat right here. Crypto is just the new penny stock. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, it is compared to Wall Street right now. So if you look at Wall Street, right? I mean, here's like super simple, like not meme, but just thing to take a look at here. If I share my screen, can you see this?
Yeah.
So in Bitcoin's point of view, right? We're over $175 billion in market cap for Bitcoin right now. I think we're around like 190. We were over 200 earlier this year. In terms of all cryptocurrencies, it's over $330 billion. But still, right? Compared to Apple, compared to Amazon, compared to Google, all these companies, it's still not holding a candle to it, right? I think in terms of market cap right now, Bitcoin is somewhere between PayPal and Bank of America, right? And so if Bitcoin is actually a revolution in money, which a lot of people think it is, and I mean it's only 10 years into it, so you're not going to change millennia or centuries of financial history in 10 years, but it is doing some good damage. And yeah, so right now it's a penny stock. You can still consider a Bitcoin a penny stock compared to the entire market, but you start seeing these guys like the MicroStrategies company who is investing $425 million of their company's capital into Bitcoin, and then I think $200 and some million into gold to be hedged against the dollar, right? Because they don't want to be in fiat. And then you get guys like what's his name, Paul Tudor Jones, who is the most successful hedge fund manager in history, literally a billionaire, also going through the OTC over-the-counter market to buy Bitcoin earlier this year as well. So it's only 1% of his capital, but 1% of a billionaire's capital is quite substantial.
Yeah, definitely.
And the other thing that's pretty interesting about where Bitcoin's at in its price history right now is you can buy or sell a few $1 million, like a few $100 million worth of Bitcoin right now, and you'll move the price relatively insignificantly. The MicroStrategies guy, right? He bought $425 million worth of Bitcoin, and it literally almost didn't move the market at all. And he did buy it over exchanges. He didn't buy it like over the counter behind closed doors, right? He bought it on the markets, on the exchanges, which theoretically should have pushed the price up. But Bitcoin right now needs, tens of millions, hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars in its market cap to continue growing in price. So it's getting there. But yeah, I mean, definitely you got a lot of the altcoins, most of the altcoins beyond, I think the top 10 are all just penny stock right now compared to the rest of the traditional markets. And that's okay, right? It's still a young market, that's why the volatility is there.
Right. And, I think that you got to look at it like this way, right? Yes, it is, can be considered penny stocks, but you just like, a lot of you guys are just trying to be so idealistic. You know what I mean? You're trying to be like so you're trying so hard to be like have morality in the sense of that, like, you're like, oh, I want to do the right thing, and like we got to stop this crypto thing from happening and all these shit coins and stuff. Like, look, you're not going to stop it. No, you're not going to stop it. And the Pandora's box is open. It's all, it's just like, it is what it is. You need to take your emotions out of the equation, look at the situation logically, and think, how can I financially gain from this? Okay. Sure. Yeah. Like what I'm saying, like, sure, you could be like, oh, the moral implications of this are terrible and blah, then don't participate in it. Don't. But the bottom line is it's not against the law. There's money to be made. And honestly, like, it's like the equivalent of you being like, I decided to stop sleeping around because that's someone else's wife in the future. Like, you think that's gonna like give morals to all these girls that are sleeping around? You think they're just like, you stepping away from the market? Like, he changed the world after that day. After he went, mandatory incel. There was never a premarital instance of sex ever again. Like, take your emotions out of it, and just take a step back and look at the situation logically and think to yourself, how can I fucking make profit off of this? And again, if you consistently do that, you consistently try your best, you consistently make money in this market, and you learn as you're doing things. You have a mentor, you look at the market, all it takes is like 10, 15 minutes of reading a day. That's literally, and just not giving up. And that's just the fundamentals of it. But a lot of people are just so caught up in the emotions. Like, they get real hyped. They want to buy Bitcoin when it's like $14,000. Those people are what we like to call hex investors. So, just
They're
yeah. Are they the new penny stocks? Theoretically, yeah. But you can make a lot of money, and I'm a big fan of that, especially at the rate the Federal Reserve is just pumping out all these dollars. Like, I don't think people realize that America's in some serious trouble after all this money printing.
Yeah, well, people aren't putting it in the context of history either, right? We're printing more money now than has ever existed. It's just absolutely insanity.
America has printed more money in the last 2 months than they have in the last 2 centuries, I believe. Let me check it out. I saw an article.
Yeah, I've read a few stats like that myself. So, and yeah, I agree with what Angela's saying here, right? High level convos going on in the Crypto Mindset Telegram, how to maximize gains and tax and exit strategies. I love it. I mean, since we're here with Mr. McAfee, subject here, because, I highly respected John for coming on the show. I mean, that was awesome. He didn't have to do that. And it was very, awesome that he could come on and spend his time with us. Of course, it was a little bit of a ride. That was fun. But yeah, here's, a website, bitcoin.tax, right? For all of you guys who are, a little bit like crypto's the Wild West. I want to rein in and, make sure that I'm doing everything properly. Bitcoin.tax, very nice website that you can just go to and get all your tax things solved with cryptocurrency. No problem. A-okay. You're all good. You don't have to end up like John, McAfee on this one. So, and we're going to talk about that today. Why is he in the situation he's in right now? Why is it? How might he get out of it? That kind of thing. I mean, there's a lot of stuff with it, but to your earlier point, one other thing I would say is there's only 2 emotions in crypto that you really need to overcome. And this is in all finance, actually, right? Is just fear and greed.
I just want to mention real quick on Cointelegraph on July 31st, there was an article posted. U.S. printed more money in 1 month than in 2 centuries.
Yep. And the last time the United States was never in debt was when Andrew Jackson got rid of the central bank. It came back.
Mishka, thank you for the €2 €2 super chat. What reading you recommend? Well,
I recommend. Well, go ahead. Yeah,
I'm a big fan of the Bible. Could you tell me a little bit in more depth? What do you mean? I think he's talking about crypto. What do you recommend, Charlie?
I'd actually recommend watching, right? So Andreas Antonopoulos, he also has a book, right? Exactly. And Andreas Antonopoulos has the book, right, about Bitcoin. It's pretty dense, so you can read that if you'd like, but you can also just watch some of his videos and be just fine. So Andreas Antonopoulos is huge. The other people, I would just say pay attention to people in the space. I mean, even, if you just want financial literacy, let's say, for example, The Creature from Jekyll Island, that might be an interesting book to read about the Federal Reserve as well. So there's a lot of different ways that you can take it. But other stuff with crypto, I would say, Andreas Antonopoulos is by far the hands down the only guy in crypto that I can say 100% without a shadow of a doubt that he never, he always goes with the right thing. Everybody else in crypto has an angle. Let me see how he spells his name here. I'll just pull him up in Google. I'm sure somebody else in the chat will get it too, but it's a Greek one. All right, here we go. There we go. Yeah, Also, as George said, definitely. But yeah, Andreas is by far just the goat of all crypto right now. He spent 5 Bitcoin on a bag of coffee back in the day.
Jesus Christ. How is it spelled? Just go to that new website, google.com. google.com. And you should be able to figure it out.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can find just about anything on there. The Library of Alexandria these days.
Let's see. So let's see. It's cool to see John in Japan at night and Charlie in France during the day. Time zones will never get the way of true partners. Cheers. Thank you, Sketch Blitz. Yeah, Charlie is actually in front of the Eiffel Tower. They painted it red and white. Thank you. Thank you.
I love it.
Charlie, I've got so bright where you are.
I know. It's like the middle of the day, right? Actually, from John's apartment, you can actually see this building, right? But you don't have it on your background right now, but you can see it from.
Is that the Maury building?
Yeah. Roppongi Hills.
So let's pull up an article. Let's talk about all Johnny Boy here.
Yeah,
an interview we had, eh?
Yeah, you want me to show it on my end?
Yeah, just pull it up.
All right. Yeah, man. I have a few, including the indictment that they have on him as well, which is definitely serious. But yeah, man. John McAfee, temporarily RIP, I guess, arrested in Spain on criminal charges, right? And this is being extradited to the U.S. By the U.S. Department of Justice, basically for allegations, right? So not innocent until proven guilty, allegations of tax evasion. Now, I believe even on our show, right, he talked about, that he hasn't really filed a tax return in quite a long time. So, it's not, I'm pretty sure all the information is out there, right?
Oh, man.
So, I mean, he put himself in this position and he was, clawing and scratching his way out of it. I think when he got to the Caribbean, right, he was on his yacht with his guns, his dogs, and his crew. And they were about to send him back to the States. They even had him in jail. For some reason, he smooth talked his way out of it, got back on the boat, went off into international waters, right? Somehow ended up in Europe at the end of all this. But yeah, quite the ride for a year and a half of this guy living life to the fullest.
Jesus, man. Crazy. But, so what did he do to get arrested? Let's read these bullet points. Can you zoom in on that a little bit so the crowd can read it?
Oh, yeah. Let's see.
Oops. Yeah, do a little bit more.
Yeah, because otherwise if I zoom in anymore, you're not going to be able to see that. It's going to cut the words off.
Okay.
But yeah, so he faces criminal charges of tax evasion, willful failure to file tax returns, right? So he has over 5 years on that. And actually, I do have the document here with the actual indictment.
Let's read it.
Yeah. So this one is pretty
Zoom in on it. Zoom in as well.
Yeah. Basically allegedly he hid cryptocurrency. He hid a yacht. How could you hide a yacht? But he basically didn't file taxes on it, right? Or ownership of it on real estate as well, and other properties in nominee names to evade taxes. We can ignore this first paragraph, but he was indicted, arrested in Spain. Let's see. So he earned millions in income from promoting cryptocurrencies, consulting work, speaking engagements, selling the rights to his life story for a documentary. And then from 2014 to 2018, so they're only pinning these 4 years on him for failing to file tax returns, right? Despite receiving considerable income from these various sources that we mentioned at the beginning here. It does not allege that during these years, McAfee received any income or had any connection to the antivirus company. So it's not related to that. But so allegedly evaded his tax liability by directing his income to be paid into bank accounts and cryptocurrency exchange accounts in names of different nominees, including, I think, people in his crew. He also had body doubles. He had 4 or 5 different body doubles because he actually felt that he had people trying to knock him off or arrest him at various different things.
Wow.
Yeah. And the indictment further alleges that McAfee attempted to evade the IRS by concealing assets, property, a vehicle, a yacht, and stuff by putting it in other people's names. So here's the bad part. If that's not bad enough already, McAfee faces a maximum sentence of 5 years in prison on each count of tax evasion. Right. So I'm not sure if that means for every year he didn't file or just for that whole one count. I'm not 100% sure how that works. Then he says a maximum sentence up to 1 year in prison for each count of willful failure. Okay, here we go. Willful failure to file a tax return. So 4 years, right, for those 4 years, right? 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. That's 5 years, actually. So 5 years there and 5 years for the tax evasion count. And the tax evasion was also right on the yacht, the real estate, and other properties. So let's just count those ones, right? One.
So did they seize the real estate?
They must have. It's in the U.S. and the yacht obviously was what got him to Spain.
Jesus Christ, U.S. is just fucking the new Nazi Germany.
Yeah, well, they're you can call them, a mafia or whatever. A cartel is probably one of the better ways to put how different governments and especially how the banks work. To be honest, the central bank cartel is definitely a common way to describe the Federal Reserve and how that was made. But yeah, the other thing in terms of why they would, go in and grab him, right, is simply, he was very loud about it, right? He was on the internet talking about it all the time, saying, this is exactly how he's evading taxes. The one thing he did not talk about on the internet, which is also a thing that they're coming at him for, but I think we knew this off of Twitter from crypto Twitter in 2017, right? We had Verge, we had all these ICOs that were being pumped. McAfee was pumping plenty of them. We knew that he was getting paid at least $100,000 per pump, basically, right? I love it. Exactly, Cody. And McAfee's, he's a friend of ours just by having him on the show. So, I hope the best for him and hopefully, innocent until proven guilty. So I hope to God that he,
love
gets
John.
away from that. Yeah, it was great. Very gracious of him to spend his time on here. Here's, the actual document in the court listener. You can actually
pull it up. Let's zoom in on that. Let's take a look at it. Let's read these charges so people can understand how important it is to pay your taxes or just give up your citizenship to America. America is no longer this golden opportunities country that everybody thinks it is. America is a shithole. The country is a shithole. The women are shit. Like, there's no reason. Like, you have to pay crazy taxes. People are killing each other in the streets. Like, the American dream is dead. It's over. America is done for. I could not. If I went back to America, I would seriously spiral into probably drug addiction just to fucking tolerate living there. I'm in every sense of the word. I'm looking so hard right now into figuring out how I can give up my citizenship to America. It's going to happen. I'm looking at St. Kitts. There's no reason to keep your passport in America. Like, I'm in Tokyo. I have to pay a lot in taxes and I don't even get any of the fucking benefits. I don't get a single benefit at all for paying taxes and I'm not even in America. Like, why do I need to pay taxes?
Yeah, I would say the only benefit that we would have as international travelers, right, would be you get an automatic 90-day visa in most first world countries, right? Mm-hmm. So like for Japan or for Korea or for parts of Europe, obviously not much of the Middle East, but in places that are mainly first world areas of the world, right? We get automatic visas for traveling there because we're Americans. So it is a lot more convenient than other countries, right? We had a coworker who's from Bangladesh, and just to travel to different countries in Europe, he had to go to an embassy, get a bunch of stamps and visas to actually travel. Now, is that worth paying, getting raped in taxes? Yeah, probably not. But at the same time, when I go back to America, there's always kind of this, dichotomy of feelings, right? In terms of the politics and just not being able to have an actual rational discussion with a lot of people back there, because people are on one end of the spectrum or the other. There's no in between, or that type of stuff, right? It is pretty annoying. But the natural beauty of America is something that is awesome. Like I love camping. I love going out into the wilderness, and I did that in the Winnipeg area of Canada. I did that in various places in Minnesota, Wyoming, and Yellowstone, all these places. There's still a lot of places I want to travel in America, but yeah, I mean, with the taxes and with what's happening, so at a social level, it's one of those things. Yeah, it's good not to have to listen to that stuff every single day. That's for damn
I mean, it's just like American people are just, they don't even realize, like, I love the community of American guys that I have in the group here, because they're intelligent, they're educated, they're sharp, they're focused on things that matter in life. They live in a strange place called reality. But the United States, what's happening right now with the media is out of control.
Oh, for sure.
And people are stupid, and they just, whatever the box says, they do it. Orange man bad. Got it. Hate my life. Trump is bad.
And spend all their energy on that, right? Versus actually doing something productive with their lives.
When we watch Japanese television, it's like so positive, so uplifting. Like, here's this beautiful factory, and they make these delicious Japanese food, and this is why we are racially superior to the world. And like that's literally what Japanese TV is like. In China, all look, I like hip hop and shit, but like the message behind hip hop is pure degeneracy. It's like sell drugs, kill people, fuck other people's women. And if you listen to that music constantly, you're like, what you listen to on repetition is who you become.
Yep.
And then you have like crap like Cardi B singing like wet ass pussy and blah blah blah, and all these songs are like basically like American women are so insufferable. They're the most insufferable women on the planet. And then now look what happens. They're starting to come out in droves. Where have all the good men gone? Blah blah blah. Like posting articles, everything. And then take a look at American women. Literally the fattest people in human history. The fattest people in human history. Okay. That's why I say, like, dude, Asia is the future. Listen, there are cycles in this thing, and America is going to hit all these people. If you're a guy and you're listening, like I know, I love Just People. He's a great guy, but you're totally wrong when he said, if America falls down, the whole world will fall. That is so far from the truth, dude. No. Our lockdown in Tokyo versus what we've had in the world. Japan's constitution doesn't allow a lockdown. Like the police cannot force, the government cannot force organizations to shut down, and the police cannot force people to stay in their homes and go home. And like compared to like the literal draconian stuff that I'm seeing going down in Australia, in America, in Canada, stuff, it's unbelievable. Like, even look at Vietnam. A lot of people don't talk about Vietnam, Thailand. I think like total cases like 75.
Yeah, Taiwan as well.
Yep. Korea. I'm not a big fan of living in Korea. I think it's fine to visit, but I would never live there. But if I was forced to live there, it would be way better than America. Same goes for dude, even China, man. Zuzu for Life's in the house. I'm gonna go to China. Like, I'm looking at the embassy things are tied up right now for Americans going to China, but I'm going to China as well. Asia is the future. I don't care what anybody says. Let go of America's hope. The American dream is dead. Open your eyes and walk around outside. Look at all these fat, sick, broke people. A nation cannot survive when the culture and its people are sick. In 10 years, you think these COVID deaths are, first of all, the COVID deaths were fake and the numbers were pumped. Okay. Now, guess what's going to happen? In 10 years, women that are 34 now and super fat and obese, and 10 years and 44, they're all going to die. If not 10 years, definitely 20 years, 50. You don't see any old fat people because they're all dead. You're going to see a massive wave of death and depression hit America soon. And this stuff that happened this year, the coronavirus, all the printing of money, everything, the compound effect is real. And we're going to see the effects of this. And Christ, I don't even know, man. It's going to be pretty bad. But take a look at the Democrats trying to run the United States into the ground. Who's behind with the Democrats? Big tech, big corporations, every media company, Hollywood, right? Look at Democratic cities right now in America. They're literally on fire, and there's literally shit in the streets. Shit in the streets.
That's pretty crazy.
on fire and people are killing each other. So this is what I'm saying. If you got the opportunity and you got the balls to get out of America, do it. Because if not, I mean, you should like the whole idea, like, oh, God and country and, you know, the American dream. You got to be a fucking asleep to believe the dream. And a lot of people are. But that's why we talk about cryptocurrency. It's a hedge against the fall of the United States. It's a hedge against the fall of the United States dollar. It's going to happen. This whole printing thing can't let's talk about that, right?
I was gonna say, yeah, like everybody's seen this coming from the 70s ever since we got taken off the gold standard, right? It's like if you put George Carlin in politics today, do you think he'd actually be a popular comedian? I think people would love what he has to say, but he'd be censored like fucking crazy.
Oh yeah. And like I said, you have to live in reality. Like how much money did they print? 3 trillion? 3 trillion?
Yeah, I'd have to actually look at the number now, but it's definitely over 2.5.
I think they did 2.5 trillion in the first printout. Okay. Over a complete sham. Like where are the bodies in the streets? Where are all the dead people?
Well, yeah, it has no correlation with that.
Trump defeated the coronavirus in 48 hours and on a diet of McDonald's
and KFC, right? And we had that big boat in the Tokyo Bay, right? Back in, what was it, February, right? When everybody was like just starting to freak out about it. And there was like a bunch of people in there with Corona. It just got more and more cases as they were on there. Then they let the people out just into Tokyo, right? And we were like, oh my God, it's coming, right? It's like Biohazard or Resident Evil. It's going to be in Shibuya Square, and everybody's going to fucking be zombies and it's going to be crazy ass shit. It's basically what it sounded like through the media.
Yep.
And then 4 weeks later, right? It should be at 2 to 3 weeks by the time people get infected. Nothing. Absolutely nothing, right? So, yeah, the Fed printing money, to me, they started that back in last September, right? A year ago. And nobody took note except for people in cryptocurrency. A lot of people in cryptocurrency were talking about it from last September through November. And then nobody else was really talking about it until January, February was when those really, really smart people we're starting to talk about it openly about the stock market, how it related to the stock market. And then most people weren't talking about it until April, once they actually started talking about stimulus stuff.
Right. So what do you think is going to happen with all this inflation?
There's no good way out of it, right? All fiat in the history of the world has gone to zero or relatively zero. I mean, you can still go and get Roman coins, right? But they're novelty items. They're not real. They're not going to be, they're going to be used as collectibles, not real money. So the dollar, they're going digital, right? They're going to do the digital dollar. China is going to do the digital yuan. They're going to go in digital form to try to see if they can correct this system at all. But it's once you get to a certain point, it's just not really, it's not savable. Right. So they have to slowly shift to other things. And I think that's why you got a company like MicroStrategy going over to Bitcoin, right? You will get some companies, some organizations heading this way, which is going to be a really interesting thing over the next 2 to 3 years.
Well, we kind of went off a little tangent there just because, I mean, I think what John is doing is, quite honestly, it's somewhat of a brave act. I don't think he necessarily needs all the money that he's like, I mean, 74, how much money do you need really?
Yeah, he's had plenty, from his antivirus software, from doing different things throughout his life. He's set. He's just, I think it was more principle based, right?
That's what I think. I think he's just making a stand because, again, let's talk about this. If the government can just endlessly fucking print money, why are we paying taxes? Can I get a non-boomer response? We need the roads and we need the air. What about the children? Can we, seriously, why are we paying taxes if we can just print money? Literally,
it's not for us, it's for them. Control. Right? It's the same thing with central bank digital currency. How does that benefit us as people? It doesn't. It benefits them for their control.
Right.
It keeps wealth from going from one generation to the next, keeps people relatively enslaved. So does TV, so does media in general. So does, bad dieting, or, the food pyramid, basically, that they try to teach you from elementary school, all those things. Exactly, George.
Yeah, man. So I just think, where's, oh God, where's Fred? Take the Fred bill. Yeah, it just blows my mind. Let's go back to this thing. So how was he apprehended?
That I do not know. So I've only just seen a few articles that say he was apprehended and being extradited to the States. So I don't know actually how they physically got him. I don't know if that information is even out there yet in terms of how they found out his location and then went and got him. Because, yeah, he's just been doing, basically drugs, alcohol, and banging women and hanging out with his crew every step of the way throughout his journey. So, and somehow he's kept it under wraps for this long.
He was arrested on tax evasion. Now, this article says he's 75. That article you read says 74. Interesting. This was the New York Times. I just would be so happy if the New York Times was wrong.
These days they go to print as fast as possible, and then they don't, they don't look at their errors till afterwards usually. And
September 18th. Yeah, he's 75 now.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. But yeah, so he says, let's see, extradition from the United States is pending. It did not provide a timeline, and McAfee could not immediately be reached for comment on Tuesday. Prosecutors accused Mr. McAfee of filing tax returns from 2014 to 2018. That was the big bull stretch there with Bitcoin. And it says Mr. McAfee has evaded his tax liability by accepting payments through bank accounts and cryptocurrency exchanges accounts that others set up. So this is like theoretically he has evaded taxes.
Yeah, it's all. That's why we put alleged in the title, right? So it's like it's innocent until proven guilty. I think here's like this statement again. Let me show this part on the screen, right? And that's what's kind of crazy about the media, right? Is sometimes they don't focus on that alleged bit, but let's see. Right. It says at the bottom here, an indictment merely alleges that crimes have been committed. The defendant is presumed innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Right. That's the law. So in this other document, it does say there's for probably about 5 or 6 paragraphs talking about, how he got money, right? Which is he did not disclose what he's being paid to promote ICOs. But, he basically got paid to promote them and then pretended as if, he wasn't being paid to promote them, is what they say through his Twitter. Promoting a security without disclosing what you are paid is unlawful touting and violates the federal securities law, apparently. So whether that can be applied to crypto or not, for Bitcoin is a security, right? But Ethereum is not. So if all of these ICOs were Ethereum based, could that be an argument, right, that it doesn't violate securities law because Ethereum is not a security? Right, that could be one thing.
He says people don't realize this. Yeah, he says this is, what did he say? This is a takeover. Who is taking over? That's what I would like to know from your perspective. Let me show you. Let me read more about this McAfee thing. So let me just do something.
He got about $41 million from getting paid in Bitcoin and Ethereum to promote those different ICOs.
So this is 23 million. So it says Mr. McAfee made more than 23 million from 2017 to 2018.
See,
by recommending.
This is the actual court document. So it says in the court document, it says the ICOs McAfee touted raised approximately $41 million, and McAfee made approximately $23.2 million in secret compensation from those touts, is how they phrase it in the legal document.
Let's see, a type of crowdfunding. This is ICOs, right? Which is basically launching money for shitcoins like Lisk, all that garbage, to hundreds of thousands of Twitter followers, playing the recommendations off as impartial investment advice without disclosing that he was being paid to do so. According to the 55-page complaint, who wrote this 55-page complaint? What kind of fucking losers are doing this shit?
Lawyers.
Who is still defending the United States government? That's what I would like to know. Who thinks they're doing a moral job doing that shit? According to the 55-page complaint, Mr. McAfee was paid about half in Bitcoin and half in Ethereum, the virtual currencies of the Ethereum network, a virtual cousin of Bitcoin, by the companies that were selling securities. McAfee, the software company that bears his name, was once a household name in computer security software. Intel bought it in 2017. Wow, that was pretty. 2010 for $7.7 billion. It sold its majority stake 6 years later to the investment firm TPG. Mr. McAfee has not been associated with the company since 1990s. Then a recent indictment does not suggest that he has any connections since. Okay. Oh, he's born in Britain, eh? Raised in Virginia.
And then it goes into his history in Belize and all that stuff, I'm sure, because they want to. Yeah.
Who am I voting for? He wrote on Twitter. No one. Why would I choose one person over another to control me? Slave masters are the same. We are numbers rather than people, irrespective of the master. It's true.
That's why we love McAfee right there. He just unapologetically talks about the truth. You know,
he's based, bro. He's based as fuck. My thing is this, right? Like, how much does he owe in taxes? I don't know. Is that publicly stated?
Not that I saw. Just those 4 years did not file and then received, cryptocurrency money as well as money for speeches and stuff like that.
I see. I just think I don't know. I just can't understand why we pay taxes.
It's a control. That's it. I mean, America was founded on people trying to pay the least amount of tax possible. And now, you get run around the corner for people. People are like, oh man, this guy doesn't pay as much taxes as he should. It's like, well, because there's legal ways to pay less taxes, which is part of the founding principles of our country, right? It's like a lot of thinking in America has done a 180 from, what the country was originally based on.
God. I'm just wondering what the deal is going to be here. I mean, what's going to happen, I agree with Nigerian Don here. Taxation and stuff.
Nope.
I don't know. It's something else. It's something else for sure. What do you think is going to happen? You think the United States, do you think Spain will extradite him? If it's gone, it's game over. This guy's going away.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting thing to see. I think they might try to play whatever cards they have. And obviously, if they don't do it immediately, there's some question as to whether he should be extradited, probably. So we'll see how Spain plays ball. But a lot of these first world countries, I would assume, would try to play ball with America quickly. But I mean, the UK as well kept Julian Assange for a while, right before sending him back over. Or before putting him in jail, basically. So it is what it is. But at the end of the day, I think the one kind of thing that was interesting, and I mentioned this on my show yesterday, about kind of just the different pieces of news that have come out recently this last week or two, right? Mm-hmm. In crypto, right? You had this McAfee news. You also had Trump getting the virus. You also had Arthur Hayes from BitMEX going to jail. And I think everybody in crypto was like, yeah.
No way. He's in jail now?
Well, he's being charged on charges of what exactly was it? I'd have to pull up the article, but yeah, he's basically being prosecuted by the United States.
Is he in custody?
I don't believe so. He's a rich. You know how they do it with rich people. Arthur Hayes. I'll just put his name in there, right? I'm sure, like one. Let's see. It doesn't say. Let's just put BitMEX in the news. The actual phrasing for this. Yeah, just they're basically getting, I guess, sued essentially by the U.S. government for not doing the correct regulations is the best way to put it, because they were selling to U.S. customers for a lot of things, which they can't be going directly to U.S. customers for their type of business. So, but anyways, we had negative news on BitMEX, right? Which I think there were 45,000 Bitcoin that left BitMEX after that. Most of them went to Binance, Gemini, Bybit, and I think Deribit, which is also another leverage exchange. So it didn't leave crypto. Most of it just like shifted over to different places. And 5 years ago, that would have been a catastrophic thing, kind of like what Mt. Gox was in 2013 for Bitcoin. But Bitcoin's resilient, right? We got all these negative news things coming out about Bitcoin recently, and also about the economy in general. And Bitcoin's still holding strong in price, which is a really bullish sign from my perspective. But you got so many people being bearish about Bitcoin right now when it's clear, when it's steadily above 10,500, which just baffles me.
Dude, blows my mind, man. Blows my mind.
Yeah, I mean, right now the crypto fear greed index, I can show it here. Everybody is in fear. 43 last week was neutral. The week before, or sorry, yesterday was neutral. Last week was neutral. Last month was fearful. You can kind of see this ebb and flow process since 2018. But when Bitcoin's price was high, right, everybody got into that greed brain. Now everybody's back in that fear brain. When there's fear and there's blood on the streets, it's usually a good time to be accumulating.
Very interesting.
Yeah. And yeah.
Japan has capital gains tax unless your OPSEC is good. Maybe worth moving to a country with no taxes on crypto. I don't plan on hiding any of my taxing. On my taxes. I'm just saying that it's fucking bullshit.
Yeah, you can't get away from it in a lot of countries, but at the same time, it's just, yeah, it is bullshit.
We need like a global revolution.
Yeah, I think that would take a lot.
Yeah. What do you think? Do you think it seems that I feel like the governments were losing control personally. I feel like they were losing control, and this coronavirus thing, they're making all these more draconian control measurements now, try to get back control. But I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that the future is this dystopian nightmare where we're all being surveilled and controlled by the government for thought crime and stuff like that? Or do you think that we're going to evolve and get better as a species and better as humanity? What do you think?
I think in the short term, maybe in the next decade or so, we can choose, right? You can choose to submit and bend the knee, and just be a slave or do what they intend for you to do, right? Or you can decide to use the internet, which is probably the best information source globally, right, that we've ever had in humanity, right, in human history. And you can use this, and you can, do something for yourself, right? At least pull yourself out of whatever situation that you might be in that's negative, and make a good life for you and your family, right? That's very possible on a global scale today. Everybody is not on equal playing field, right? We have some countries have more of a better chance than others. Some, people in different economic situations have more chances than others, but we all have, we're all breathing, living human beings right now. We're not, right, in a wheelchair. We're not disabled. We can, have our wits about us. Most of the people in here are relatively young. So you can make life what you want to make of it, right? You just have to get past most of the major things in society, which might even include people in your family telling you can't do it, right? And then just know what you want to do and start working towards it bit by bit, no matter how long it takes.
What is this? I don't understand what this says. Ari says the future is Fahrenheit 451. I haven't watched that movie. That's a super Chad photo though.
Yeah, Ari's also been posting some good stuff on Twitter. I saw his tweet earlier today. He said, would have been better to be on the Bitcoin or crypto train 6 months ago, right? But we're not getting lower prices in 2021, so better get on the train before it leaves. I love that. I don't think I've seen this full movie yet either. I believe it's one of Michael Moore's movies, isn't it?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I think that's he did Fahrenheit 9/11.
Oh, right, that's right. Yeah, maybe I haven't seen that one.
It's a novel by Ray Bradbury. Let's see. Fahrenheit 451 is I Want the Future to Be Good. Often regarded as best work, the novel presents a future American society where books are outlawed and firemen burn any that are found. The book's tagline, blah, blah, blah. Temperatures put books catch fire and burns. Lead character Guy Montag is a fireman who becomes disillusioned with his role of censoring literature and destroying knowledge, eventually quitting his job and committing himself to preservation of literary and cultural writings. Interesting.
And yeah, kind of what that leads me to think about is, the internet versus, historical reference of the Library of Alexandria, right?
Right.
That happened to the Library of Alexandria, put humanity back multiple centuries in terms of innovation that we could potentially do based on the knowledge that we have, right?
I've seen Equilibrium.
Equilibrium's a fucking awesome movie.
I want to learn gun kata.
It was like the Matrix before the Matrix, right? In terms of the special effects and everything. But yeah, so the Library of Alexandria is actually burned down. The internet here is in enough places. All we need to do is decentralize it a little bit more, right? Which is what crypto's role plays in this, I believe. Yeah, the more decentralized you make it, the harder it is to bring down, because the governments can't work without technology. They're not going back to the Stone Age. So everybody, there's people in like Africa or different places that have, a lot of hardships that still, if they can get access to internet or get access to a good book, they can make, they can pull themselves up, because, all humans have that, have this between their two ears to make it work for themselves. You just got to take the action and do it.
Yeah, I think it says here, like, more people are waking up. Read Gulag Archipelago if you have the time, or even if you don't have the time, because it's important. Can you give me the TLDR of that? I can't read. I have to do webinars for body language mastery. You guys are both, look at both the fucking super chads of my chat are both mentioning it. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it in the body language mastery webinars, which are going to start right now. But anyways, guys, we just wanted to give you a brief update on McAfee and have a talk about, the reach of the United States government and why you should definitely pay taxes, because they'll find you and they will kill you. Period. The United States government, if you fucking fuck with them, they're the most gangster people on the planet. Pay your taxes, because they will find you, and they won't imprison you. They will kill you. You will die if you do not pay your taxes. The government of the United States of America is not to be trifled with. So until then, we'll see you guys next week. I'll be live tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this channel to talk to you and do more reviews of the Patrice O'Neill Black Phillip show. Until then, you guys have a wonderful day.